Welcome back, going into the second half here of the old drop frames. Let's talk games for a bit.
The new drop.
The new drop
Sunday.
frames. That's true. On our new time and date, Sundays at 1 p.m. Eastern.
Every time I want to do it. Sunday.
I know.
We should.
Drop frames extravaganza happening at the Metro Park. Come on down. You'll pay for the whole seat, but you'll only need the edge.
We've got our voiceover. Now I need to pay for the animation. And there we go. So expect that in 2023.
I wonder if Sunday is copywritten like
I don't know.
It's time, or let's get ready to rumble.
Let's see. Is Sunday copyrighted? Sunday, sorry, copyrighted. I don't think it is.
Okay.
There's a lot of songs that include the word Sunday, but none of them with that, 3-word Sunday phrase. Yeah.
Can we license that from you too?
Maybe. Well, I'll work on it. We'll see what happens.
You can make a very good radio DJ. You're right, I would. Welcome back, everybody. I would be a good DJ for the Drop Frames radio show.
I think a lot of streamers would actually be great radio DJs, because in a lot of ways, that's actually what we do. Come to think of it. So,
you know that I actually have a friend who I did improv with in Billings. He's the morning show for a radio station there.
Yeah.
And they actually have a term for when you do that voice like that. The typical radio DJ voice, they call it puking on the mic.
Puking?
Yeah, it was a little puke. Yeah, it's just a slang term that DJs use, or radio shows like people use. Like, that sounded a little pukey. Like
Weird.
When you're like you're puking on the mic a little bit. Meaning you were talking like this.
Huh.
Yeah. I know. I was like, oh, that's a weird term for it, but okay.
That's a weird term for it.
Yeah. Now, Zeke, can you please introduce to our viewers what a radio is?
Yeah, no shit, right?
Oh, it's the noise knob in the drivey car.
Yeah. No, the thing is, like, I have a vehicle it's a 2010, so it's fairly older vehicle.
Yeah.
It does not have an auxiliary
An aux
cable or Bluetooth or anything like that. So I first ride I took with my wife, she's like, all right, how do I connect to your radio? I'm like, just listen to the radio. It's like, with the commercials, I'm like, that's what radio is.
Yeah.
With the commercials.
Up until probably 2013, until the car literally was leaking gas when I took it into the shop, and they said, you're not gonna, one, get this car the fuck out of my garage, and two, it's seen its last day. I used to take my phone, put it as loud as I could, and put it in the center console of my Jeep, and that's how I listened to music. I actually got pulled over in Texas once because I was fiddling with the volume button, and you're not supposed to touch your phone in Texas and drive. So yeah, random side story.
My vehicle, it's a Nissan Frontier. It does have a CD player, but CDs,
right? Yeah. That's true. That's true. Zeke, let's start with you. Where should we, what Lost Judgment? I know you've been playing a lot of that. We haven't talked. Do you want to talk some Lost Judgment?
Sure.
Okay.
Finish that up.
Yeah. I got to find a VOD that's not spoilery. So let me go all the way back.
Yeah. Well, I mean, it's not really spoilery if you can't.
Context.
I mean, it sort of is. The subtitles might spoil it. I'm going to say, if you're not listening to it, but if you read it, I guess. But Lost Judgment. Now, I felt bad towards the middle to the end of playing this, because a lot of the and also I've been saying Gotaku wrong. It's Gotoku. I've been saying it with an A in there, but it's not. But the Gotoku games, they are a lot. There's a lot of side content. Now they're the Like a Dragon, Yakuza, Judgment. They're the studio that makes those games. Now the side content is like more than half of the game content. More often than not, like it's, however 30 hour main story, and then the side content like adds another at least 30, if not a little bit more, if you want to do, you're completionist or whatever.
Yeah.
And you don't like skip over dialogue. But I felt bad because the game, I hit a spot where the game was still new enough that people hadn't played it that wanted to play it, or uh, they it wasn't like in the rear view where I could bring it back to people who had already played it. You know what I'm saying? Like, and have that like reliving vibe. Like they had just finished it, so yada yada.
Right.
So it wasn't doing well viewership wise. Like more often, like usually those games do pretty well for me. Like I can keep a pretty steady amount when I was playing the Yakuza games and like a dragon, all that shit. This game just hit a sour spot or something like that. And so I had to skip. I didn't have to, but I chose to like just do the main story. And
Sure.
I missed out on a lot of the side content, the school stories, and all that kind of shit. That being said, the main story was fan-fucking-tastic. It was really, really well done, really well written. I did half of the game in the original Japanese language, and then I did the last half of it with English voiceovers. Both had merit. The Japanese, obviously, it fits better because that's how they make the game with the Japanese dialogue in mind. But the English VO by no means was bad or it was excellent. It's very good. It's like the difference between like an A+ and an A, you know. So yeah, fear not if you want to do it with English dubs. But the way the story unraveled, the way the mysteries were revealed, and figured out and stuff like that, it all made sense. Which a lot of mystery or whodunit games, they fall into a pitfall of a lot of like Deus Ex Machina, like they're explaining it with something supernatural or something of that nature, and I hate it when they bring up something like that out of nowhere. This game did not. Everything was explained. Everything made sense. It was a nice peek into the Japanese cultural, like judicial system, as far as what is traditionally not allowed, but what traditionally happens within the court system. Like in Japan, and this is all like what I've been told and reconfirmed by many, many different people, is if you get arrested and you actually get to a trial, the conviction rate is some ungodly, like 90 something.
Yeah.
Like 97% conviction rate if you actually go to a trial, because they don't want to try you if they're not almost positive that you did it, right? And that sets up like this game, without spoiling anything. And it's great to like, it was a fun, like, thing to unravel. Like, why would they do that? Oh, that's why, because they don't want, like, the courts in Japan, like, the last thing they want to do is be incorrect, be proven wrong, or something like that. And that's like the gist of the whole thing. And it's great. It was wonderful.
Did you just pull out a gun to listen to these two people in the middle of the street?
Look at it, JP. Come on. Unless that's a fucking laser ray gun.
No, it's just like,
it's a listening
you're like
device.
4 feet away from him, and you're like,
but yeah,
all right,
I am real close. I was real close to him. You're right. And I'm going to go to the Plague, by the way.
Oh, yes, the Plague.
A restaurant called Plague.
That's great. Yeah.
Yeah. But yeah, it's fantastic. Like, one of the better written stories in the Gotoku universe. Like, I really, really enjoyed it. Where does it, like, a lot of people will ask, where does it place in the lexicon?
Yeah.
I would say in the upper half, like however many games there are. There's 8 Yakuza games and 2 Judgment games, right? Pretty sure.
That sounds right.
0 through 7.
Yeah.
If you count Like a Dragon. And then 2 Judgments. So I would say it's definitely in the top 4 of those. But it's really, really good. And oh god, the way it runs with that Dragon engine.
Oh, it's
The
using that
smoothness.
engine? That's awesome.
Oh god, the smoothness, the way
Beautiful.
look at this. I'm glad you got on this scene because it's beautiful how
He's
smooth it
beating
looks.
ass with those chairs. God damn.
Yeah.
Those are
Yeah,
heavy ass chairs too.
Yeah. And you'll notice if you play the game, you'll notice little things if you're someone who will stop and look at like scenery and whatnot. There are little things you'll notice that and I probably said this too many times, but there was a scene in a like a basement where the light, you could see the light behind the character that was talking, and in the light you could see like the little gnats or whatever, like kind of just like fuzz whatever, just like kind of flying around like behind, and it was like it's those little things that you see like, oh my god. Because I remember when I played Senua's Sacrifice, Hellblade, and I stopped and I was like, wait a minute, and I went and I kind of like tried to zoom in on the main character's dreadlocks, and then you could see like the dreadlocks weren't like perfect. There was like hairs, that weren't like totally dreaded in.
Yeah.
And I was like, wow, that's a really cool detail because that's what dreadlocks, look like, especially if you're a white person, like they have flyaways. And I was like, that's a really cool detail. Just like this game has a lot of those, and it's really, really fun. And the music, as always, as you'd come to expect, is fantastic as well.
Yeah.
Definitely a contender for even though I didn't play the much of the side content, it's still like definitely a contender for games of the year for sure.
Right. Code, did you end up playing this?
I did. I played it all the way through on release.
Were you on your break? Is that why we never talked about this game?
I think
because I think this is the
maybe.
first time we've talked about it on the show, but it's been out for a while. So
oh yeah,
that would make sense.
I absolutely loved it. I thought it was fantastic. I thought it was everything the first game was and more. I completely echo pretty much everything Zeke's been saying about it. The new kind of style and everything, the way it fits in is great. There's a ton more side content in this one. I'm kind of sad I didn't get to it. There was just, like Zeke was saying, a huge amount of side stuff in this one. There's this one school area in the game, and people have said like just doing all the school quests is equivalent to most games' main stories in terms of content.
Jeez.
And it's just like localized to that thing. But yeah, it was a fantastic addition. The main story was really, really good. And like Zeke was saying, it was really interesting to see because it's very different in Japan how they handle the legal system than here. It is a night and day difference in a lot of ways. A lot of similarities and a lot of just complete differences. So it was really cool getting kind of like a behind the scenes look at how that all works. Since they're lawyers, so they're kind of like in the back doing all the dirty work, so to speak. Which is actually really clean in Japan, funny enough. So yeah, it was really good. Really good.
You guys might know, do they have defense attorneys there, and do they just like give up? Like, how does that work?
Oh, they absolutely do. There's prosecutors and defense attorneys. Like you actually play the person defending. What was really interesting in this game is this is not well, I want to talk about it, but at the same time I don't want to spoil it too much. But I'm pretty sure in the initial trailer you see this where
Here, I'll put
the
this
big
up just
issue.
in case.
Okay, thank you. The big issue in this game is that you are defending somebody who is guilty of a crime. And the big thing about that is once you're prosecuted for that crime, like that's it. Like it's in the books that's what you've done. This is now like confirmed canon, essentially. Like you have done this. And going back on that is incredibly hard in Japan because it basically shows that the system is flawed. And they don't want to show the system's flawed. So the huge thing in this game is the fact that you're defending this person for this crime that is pretty obvious that they've committed it. And then during the crime, the guy stands up and basically says, I know about this murder that no one else knows about that happened in this place that it's not public information yet. Boom.
Yeah.
And because he's doing this at his trial, where they've essentially committed him to doing this crime, then there's no possible way he could have been involved in this other crime. and then everyone's like, oh shit, what do we do? Because it's like, and that's where like the whole thing starts becoming like this really deep thing, because it's like, how does this guy know? What's the justice system going to do about it? They can't go
Got it.
back on it
Okay.
now that he's convicted, and it'll just get bigger and bigger and bigger and bigger and bigger. So it's a
And that's one of the
very
first
interesting journey.
that's one of the first things in the game, like first like chapter 1
Yeah.
stuff. So
Yeah. Cool. Is this also
Really cool.
on? I'm gonna take the spoiler thing off. Is this also on Game Pass or no? 'Cause I know
think
like every
so.
mainline game is. I don't know if the Judgment series is though.
PlayStation 4, 5, Series X, Series S, and 1, but I don't think it's on Game Pass. No.
Okay. All right. Chat was saying it was, but it is not anymore. Now it's on PS Now or something. I don't know. But
I didn't know it ever was.
Yeah.
Somebody in chat said the twist is super good. Dude, there's lots of twists in this one. Like that, and that's one of the things that are really fun.
Yeah.
Like there is no twist in this one. There's like every twist is flanked by other twists that you then got twists to get to. Like, and that's one of the things that I love about Ryuga Gotoku is that most of their games are not like, there are aha moments, but there's almost always multiple aha moments, and they keep those moments coming to the end. A lot of times they'll give you a fake aha moment where it's like you think you know what's going on, and then all of a sudden later, like it turns out that's all wrong, and then they're a lot of fun. They've really gotten to a point with Lost Judgment where you can tell that Ryuga Gotoku has they've gotten this down. Like they really know how to tell these stories, and they do it in a really great way.
Yeah.
Some super emotional moments in the story as well, which are really cool.
We did not cover a lot of the news around that studio, but they've had some changes recently. Like didn't a couple people left for Nexon, and like some of the leadership has stepped up or something like that, or some lower people have stepped up. Do you know the full?
Some people tried to make the announcements dramatic by saying that like at one point, I think like the creative lead for the Yakuza franchise left to a mobile game developer and stuff. And,
yeah, to
Nexon. And they tried to kind of like, some folks were some publications also were spinning it kind of like, oh, what's going to go on with the series and stuff like that. Dude, at the end of the day, it's just money. Like it's very clear that these, like, they left for giant mobile game dev studios in high positions. It's pretty clear they were just offered a ton of money and then went to get the money. Like I don't think it speaks too highly of what's going on. Especially when you consider that these games at this point, especially have they're really, really good at it, and tons of people go into making these games. So I wouldn't be too concerned from what we've seen so far.
Yeah.
It's not a what was it? Vampire the Masquerade Bloodline situation where like the heart and soul is leaving, like it's no means like that.
Gotcha.
And the one thing that I did notice, that if you are a main story quest player that doesn't like, you don't go in for side content, there's not a lot of game towards the last half of it. It's walk to a place, cutscene time. Walk to a place, cutscene time. There's pardon me. There's some fights here and there, but it's a lot of movie. Like, it's good.
Yeah.
Don't get me wrong. It's good, but there's not a lot of interaction, not a lot of stuff to do if you're just doing main story quests.
Got it.
Very true. But and like Zeke was saying, not only is it good, but like especially with how complex the story is at the end, it's needed. Like by the time you get to the end of Lost Judgment, there are not only multiple storylines moving in parallel, but there is a cast of characters, and like making sure you understand what's going on in all of them is pretty important to kind of unwinding the knots that they've kind of tied together throughout the show.
Yeah.
Also, quick note, someone brought this up in chat, and this is a good point to mention. Another kind of thing that happened with this particular series, unfortunately, is people are now a little bit concerned about the future of Judgment, even though Lost Judgment apparently did okay, if not well, it was good, but well received. But apparently the lead guy, Yagami, the Japanese version, who is not only the VA, but also the actor, that advertising agency is apparently like the reason it's not on PC is because they just like completely don't want that happening at all. And there's another reason that there's not even any karaoke, because they don't want to give the rights of him singing. So like apparently they've gotten to a point where it's like an impasse, and now they're to the point where they're like, we don't know if we want him participating in future stuff.
Jeez.
But that's one of the reasons it's not on PC. That's one of the reasons there's no karaoke. They've apparently put their foot down, and Ryuga Gotoku was not super jazzed about it.
Yeah.
And
Like, with
that's
their
how I
other
found
talent.
out, like, when I was bitching about there being no karaoke, that's how I found out that this guy, the main character, is like a big like singer.
That's the thing.
really
He's
good
a
singer.
big major singer. So
Yeah.
they were
Oh,
worried
okay.
about having him like for licensing stuff and everything. They didn't want him like doing his thing in this game, and it became a big deal. Yeah.
Crazy. Yeah.
Hey, they could just pull Kiryu and
Change the character up.
change him out. Yep, change
Yeah.
out the main character.
They could.
Hey, as long as they keep Greg Chun, I'm happy. Just make sure
telling
they
you.
keep.
They now I don't know if it's rumors or it's actual fact, but Kaito like is your like he's your tough ex Yakuza buddy best friend, and he is fucking awesome throughout the series.
Yep.
He reminds me, he's a little bit like me. He's like, why are we talking? Let's just fucking fight these guys. God, you know, like he's that kind of guy. And there's the DLC, right? He is getting a DLC, so that is confirmed. I'm okay. I'm seeing
I
it
didn't
from
know. That's
multiple
awesome.
people that it's getting confirmed. That I would definitely love a game with him because he's ex Yakuza, which means he's you know badass, but he's not Kiryu like I was thrown into this life. You know, like
He's not
the
grizzled. Yeah.
exactly. He's happy. Kiryu was not someone I would describe as happy like ever.
Yeah.
Like he smiled like 3 times throughout 8 games or 7 games. But this guy Kaito, and he loves life. Just look at his shirt, dude. He wears the baddest ass like satin orange like paisley shirt. God, beautiful. I've been looking for that shirt forever. I can't find it anywhere. I can find approximations, but I really want that shirt. So if you know what that shirt is, let me know.
Kaito's the guy you want to go out drinking with. Like he's
Yeah.
like his whole spiel is like before big cases, he gets everyone together and he's like, who wants to go get drunk? And they just like go out and get plastered the night before and stuff. He's a pretty great character. Yeah.
Nice.
But I'd love to see Kaito if they can't get Yagami back, the voice actor for Yagami. I would definitely play and look forward to a Kaito Judgment for sure.
Awesome. Cool. And that game, just so everyone, that's $60 game, right? Full price. It's not a 40 or anything like
Yes.
that. It's 60.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yep.
Looking on this, it says it's down to 30.
Oh, it might
I
be
don't know if that's
sale.
accurate.
It might be on sale somewhere. A bunch of
Oh yeah,
places, maybe.
it's right now on Amazon. The PlayStation 5 version is $30.
Oh yeah.
Wow.
It's 50% off right now for the PlayStation. I don't
There
know
you go.
why, but yeah,
Good timing.
cool.
Yeah.
Yeah,
That works out.
totally worth it. If you do the side content, this is one of those games where you will get back your value in spades. Like
Nice.
there's hundreds of hours of things to do in this game if you choose to do everything. Actual hundreds of hours.
Sweet.
So, someone, Darth Vader in my chat went and looked it up. I did completion total 30.7%.
How long did you
Just
play?
doing the main,
Oh.
just doing the main story.
Quick note, some people that are hearing about this game for the first time are saying, would you play the original Judgment first? Absolutely. The original Judgment is the same cast of characters. You get a whole lot of fantastic backstory. Some of the characters in 2 you meet in 1 in some very important ways, and play 1 to 2 and you'll see what I'm talking about. But yeah, I would absolutely recommend. Judgment's a great game. Judgment 1 is a fantastic game on its own. So you definitely would want it. Even if you just play 1 for the main story and then really do a big run in 2, do 1 for the story.
Cool.
And it's just great. Just a great game.
Awesome stuff.
Yep. It said 147 out of 494 quests completed.
Holy shit.
I think that was probably more than me.
Damn. It's a lot. It's a big
Well,
game.
I did complete the golf game. That's the one thing I made sure to do. I make sure to do that in every one. And I just kind of wish that they would change it up a little bit from game to game, because it was the same golf game in the previous version, same batting cage game in the previous version. Like, wish I would change it up a little bit.
Yeah.
It's so much cheaper for them to copy paste it though. Like they in their mind, if it works, like if people loved it, yeah. Like I feel the same way about they had different courses and stuff, but the drone racing was also like the drone racing and stuff like that. But
No, the darts game. I wish they would have fleshed that out a little bit too. Like I love the competitive darts game. You can play by yourself, or I'm guessing if someone's with you, you can play with them. But like in previous games, they had like someone standing there like, "Hey, you look pretty good at darts. Here for a game?" And it would get progressively harder to beat the next person in line. So I wish they would have done that too. And karaoke above all though.
It's a fan favorite of the Yakuza series, I think, for sure.
Yes, karaoke is amazing.
Yeah. Let's talk some Halo. I'm about 2 to 3 hours from finishing it, so I'll let Co take the lead since you have finished it. And I'll try to find some footage of you maybe early on in the game. But what were you gonna say?
Well, how about we talk about gameplay this episode and story next episode?
Yeah, that's fine. I mean, we can go. Yeah, we can do a spoiler.
I would love to. For some reason, I thought you'd finish it. I'd love to talk about the story, but
close.
I'd rather not. I'd rather not even say a word until you're done with it.
Yeah, I mean, I'll say the story for me. I tweeted this yesterday. I think this is definitively 343's best Halo from a story perspective, and I think it's probably one of the best Halos from a story perspective as well. For me, it doesn't have at least like big bombastic moments that much in terms of what you would expect from a Halo, but the storytelling's been awesome. Like I had to force myself to stop playing last night, so I didn't do another fucking 10-hour stream for the like 11th day in a row and wake up.
Don't worry, Cat, no
shit.
spoilers. We're not spoiling it. Don't worry.
It's great. If you have any issues about 343's past attempts at Halo, and you're worried about that going in, don't worry about it. It's great. They know what the fuck they're doing this time around, for sure. It's really good.
I'm going to take the other side of it. This is my favorite Halo in terms of gameplay.
Oh, like, I would agree too. In fact,
out of all of them, out of every Halo I have played,
100%.
This one to me, by far, is the most. I agree. Feel like the other Halos were great, and having just played all of them in my franchise run, they're pretty fresh in my mind. The other Halos were fun. Don't get me wrong. In terms of sheer enjoyment, I have not enjoyed a Halo game nearly as much as Halo Infinite. The gameplay is phenomenal. The grappling hook is awesome. The fact that you're able to choose how you engage with encounters is fantastic. The upgrade system is great. It totally caters to open world. Like the entire game works so well with the open world format, because not only does it make you like give you actual good incentive for exploring around the world and doing stuff, but on top of that, like with the meaningful upgrades and such, but on top of that, it feels so much more like your story. Like it feels so much more interesting because you're actually like deciding what you do when and how you go about it. And, you know, are you going to go straight in? Are you going to go around the side? Are you going to just grapple up to the main objective, which I did a few times? Like it all depends on what you want to do and how you want to do it. And on top of that, it's beautiful. So that also really helps with that too. But yeah,
gorgeous.
In terms of sheer enjoyment, Halo Infinite for me is the most I've enjoyed a Halo game out of all the Halo games.
It's very, very good. I the first day I think everyone, right? Like open world Halo is just a thing that you're not, it's not a thing that you would think would ever work. And they, through what seemed like, and what has been written about, constant iteration, made it work. And I really enjoy and want to echo everything you just said and really put a highlight on that grappling hook. 'Cause man, is that like one of the best things in games this year. Like, it's so fun.
Yeah, it really is
to just walk around.
I'm not gonna lie,
man. It's so good.
I was a little worried going over those Game of the Year categories. I was like, I wonder if me and JP are both going to say the grappling hook in Halo is like one of the best.
Man, it's that's going to be a thing.
Like yeah, it's great.
It's also hilarious at the same time. I often find myself when I'm out in the open world doing the open world and just playing, that I'm putting myself in the covenant shoes or the brute shoes or whoever, the enemy shoes, and thinking like, so are they just seeing fucking Master Chief like swing from mountain to mountain and like scale up the side of this giant Forerunner mountain?
He really is a demon. Look at that shit. What are humans supposed to move like that? Why doesn't any other one else? Why don't they all move like that? Like, what is going on?
Yeah, the best advice I can give you, if you haven't started playing Halo yet, you should. It's on Game Pass. You could just grab it. The campaign is as well as multiplayer. get the first grappling hook upgrade as soon as possible, which is a 40% reduction of its cooldown, and then just go wherever the fuck you want. Because you can find a mountain and just straight up shoot straight and just keep going all the way till you're at the top of the mountain. And it kind of, like, in a lot of ways it breaks the game, but in a lot of ways it's still incredibly fun when you do that as well. So it's there's a very thin line where I think it's always fun, but you can definitely get a sniper and go to the top of a mountain and like snipe important people on the map and never get into a fight with them at all.
Especially the named guys.
Yeah.
Like one of the things that I kept doing was getting into high places for the named guys, and like I would just like I'd go to a forward base, pop out a rocket launcher.
Yep.
And then I just go to the top and I just like fire a few rockets down, and before I even get there, it's like, okay, well, cool, the target's down. Just go ahead and clean up a little bit, and the weapon's yours. And it's just like, oh, okay. But at the same time, like, here's the thing: it absolutely makes things easier by giving the player the choice to do that. You obviously don't have to do that if you don't want to, but at the same time, the whole game is kind of designed for it. Like, you can tell that in every place you can get to, all the places you can go, like, they expected people to do that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
So I think it would have made a much bigger deal if they did that poorly. Like, even the quests are designed where like they have mechanisms so you can't always just like rope around them and go inside. Like, they'll have drop pods pop outside of it, or maybe they have hard enemies waiting in front of it. Like, you can kind of tell that I'm guessing in playtesting there was that one guy that always just tried to grapple wherever he needed to and skip all the content. And it seems like they got around that in a pretty good way. There's like one thing I noticed, whenever you're approaching objectives and stuff, it almost never skips or misses anything because you take weird angles.
Right.
And that sounds like it's not a big deal, but there have been other games, especially, and you guys like know the way I play open world MMOs and stuff, where if you don't do it like the right way, it'll break the game.
Right.
And like there was almost none of that in this game. Even no matter how like weird, crazy way I'd approach something or from what direction, sometimes right on top of it, because there's no fall damage. You just like jump off the top and land right in the center stuff.
Yeah, I broke it once, but yeah,
it was very well made in that regard.
Totally. The game has like, especially in the opening of the game, the first 3 missions, which are fairly contained and they're not in the open world per se. I definitely found myself saying like, this is AAA gaming. Like, this is what a AAA game is supposed to look and feel like, because it really felt unbelievably polished. It was like the greatest graphics. The voice acting was incredible. All of the story beats hit. All of the music hit. And it just seemed like they had probably worked on those missions for the past year and a half. It was awesome. And that continues on, I think, throughout any of the story missions that you play throughout the game.
And this is something I wanted to address, because like I got this comment a few times during it, because I clearly was really enjoying myself. And chat would say things, and somebody just said it in chat here, where it's weird that Co enjoyed this open world so much, but doesn't like, like the latest Ubisoft games and things of that nature. And I think one of the big things is like there is a certain thing to say about not only novelty, but on top of that, see, like an open world game can be similar to other games, but still have its own spin on it. And especially in later Ubisoft games, they're all the same. And I've been doing so much of that stuff so often that when I get to, we just had an F. We just dropped?
Did it just drop on your stream only again?
Yep. Neither of the other chats are saying anything.
Jesus Christ. That is only on your stream.
How does that even happen?
Again, same thing as last time. I'll toggle it and see if it comes back. It's wild that it did that.
Anyway, we'll give it a second here, and hopefully it'll come back.
Yeah, it should flicker.
That was Ubisoft taking it down. They don't want this information out.
Look, you can't talk shit about it.
They're trying to restrict me.
They got NTFs, NFTs. And
people telling me time to move. I'm not streaming.
Yeah.
This is not me.
Yeah.
This is super weird, because like, is it back? I don't even know if it's back yet. Oh, and back. Okay, cool. We back. Yeah. For those that don't know, all I'm doing is broadcasting to JP, and then JP from his house is splitting the stream out to 3 different places, which is even weirder.
Yeah. And you're not even like broadcasting to me. You're just joining a Zoom call essentially.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. I'm just on a Zoom call. I'm not streaming it or anything right now. Anyway, to go back to what I was saying. So with Ubisoft games, like they have been doing the same thing pretty much over and over, and they definitely iterate it a little bit each time. but they have a formula. So that, like, imagine like a mathematical formula. Ubisoft has a formula, and every game is essentially 90% that formula with a few different variables. So the thing that's interesting to me so much about a game like Halo Infinite is not only are they not following that formula, but they are taking something that was traditionally not this and making it this. And that is doing like that is a completely different spin on it. That is a relatively standard semi-open world genre, but it's their own unique look on it, and that makes it so much more interesting to me. So like I yes, absolutely, I've gone around open worlds and collected power-up points and unlocked new forward bases. I've done that in a bunch of different games. But it was cool seeing like all the little mechanisms and all the little mechanics and all the things that made like Halo Infinite, Halo Infinite. And because those were all things that I many times hadn't done before, it made the whole experience so much more interesting for me. So right now, how I feel about Ubisoft games, if Halo Infinite uses this exact same open world thing by their 5th campaign in 2029, I'll probably feel the same way about that as I do. Like if they don't innovate, if they don't keep it moving forward and keep it interesting, I'll probably feel that way after the 10th game, like Ubisoft has been doing with their open world stuff.
Yeah.
But you know, this was interesting. It was new. I liked how they did it. I liked their FOB level up thing. Like that was pretty cool. Like it was new and it was interesting. And I'm still enjoying it. In fact, I beat the main story, and I'm still planning on going back and doing more just unlocks and stuff.
Aside,
More
dude,
around the
it's
world.
just fun walking around in that world
Mhm.
shooting people. And I think that for me is where, you know, to do the comparison to other open worlds, Ubisoft, whichever one you want to do. I think the gameplay, the gunplay specifically in Halo is more fun to kill and shoot things in a Halo game than it is a Ubisoft game. It's the same feeling that I
Feels
got
more
like,
developed.
yeah, it's the same feeling that I got back in the day from Assassin's Creed. It was just fun walking around stabbing dudes. In Halo,
Yeah.
it's just fun walking around running off cliffs like this and killing your teammates.
He had it coming. Let's be real.
Oh, they're pieces of shit. I agree.
Yep.
And okay, so let's talk about some things that maybe aren't the greatest. The controls on PC when it comes to driving vehicles, if you're using mouse and keyboard, they're a little weird. They're not exactly perfect. They're not like WASD for how you would drive a car in a lot of other games. It's basically you use W and then you like mouse around, and that's how you kind of drive. And it's not necessarily the best. The other big thing that I had issue-wise in this game was bosses. I felt like the bosses, similar to the experience I had in Doom Eternal on the hardest difficulty, where the bosses are just like giant bullet sponges. And maybe more so in this game than Doom Eternal. If you explore the arenas enough, they kind of give you hints for effective ways to fight said bosses. So there's a little bit of like gameplay puzzlement, I guess, in there when it comes to the bosses. But a lot of times, man, they just have like pinpoint accuracy of tracking for like a one-shot ability, and it's fucking shit. Like it just feels not good.
Massive ground closers if they're melee that are like nearly unavoidable. Yeah. I mean, and I think you're playing on Legendary too, right?
Yeah.
That has a lot. I mean, I think I finished.
It has everything to do with it. Yeah.
Maybe over 300. Yeah. I mean, I died so many times in this game. But then again, it was the kind of thing where if you ran out of cover at the wrong time, like you were just dead if the right enemy was.
And that's legendary. Which is fine.
Yeah.
But the bosses just feel gross. Yeah.
Yeah. I honestly kind of went in expecting that in a lot of ways. Thankfully, my biggest concern was that I was going to run out of ammo on a couple bosses with shields. I was legit like, I am going to run out of guns and not be able to damage this enemy. But again, we'll talk about story stuff next week.
Yeah. And that was
gameplay wise, awesome game.
Yeah. And that was honestly the boss issue was more front loaded in the game for me, because towards the end I haven't died on a boss in a while. I'm going to assume that will change, but I've done so much in the open world that you eventually get guns at your fobs that just do more damage or are more effective in a lot of ways. But some of those opening bosses are motherfuckers, just absolute pieces of shit that are frustrating as hell. So
on legendary,
yeah, definitely on one shots galore. But everything else, I would say legendary is like my preferred way to play in terms of open world
Oh, yeah.
difficulty. It's great. Like when I die, it's because I was out in the open and I died. There's only been one instance where there's been in the open world, there's named mobs that you can go and kill, and they have like a special gun that you can then spawn in a forward operating base that you then can just have whenever you want it. And there was one mob in particular that had a rocket launcher that tracks, and that's like the special gun. And I eventually just said, fuck it, you're going to die from a sniper rifle 2 kilometers away. Because if you get anywhere near them, the rocket would like go over hills and through trees and just track you and one-shot you. And so I just did what I always do and went and got a sniper rifle. So
Why didn't you just shoot the rocket out of the air?
I couldn't. I didn't have enough time to react.
I don't even know
I
if
was
you
just
can.
not good enough.
Yeah.
I was in a respawn death loop so much that even with me playing, the game went back a check mark.
Wow.
Because of how fast it was. Like spawn dead, spawn up, spawn. Oh, okay, we're gonna spawn you back a little bit further before you even see this space. We'll see if you have any luck then. So, yeah, it's great. I absolutely love it. I can't believe they made an open world Halo game that works, and I hope we have many more, and I hope that they continue to like iterate on this system. Really interested
Also-
to see how co-op and everything works, because
Mhm.
having played it, it's going to be real weird to see how they implement that. And
It's
it
going
makes
to be
sense.
like the big question for me is twofold. First of all, to go back to what you said real quick, just to add a commentary. Legendary caters to open world.
Yeah.
Being able to like get behind a rock when your shield goes down and not have enemies like constantly. The only thing that did kind of bug me though is I was really surprised they don't really reduce the damage at all for vehicles, and it made a lot of vehicles like
Vehicles
completely
suck.
unusable.
Yeah,
on
you can't
Legendary.
get in
They
them.
really like, especially like air vehicles when you're talking about pinpoint accuracy and high damage from enemies. Like it's I kind of wish they'd adjust that a little bit. I feel like
agree.
like vehicles could have like 5x the health and it would be fine.
If you get in the
Like,
tank and die
seriously.
in like 4 hits, it's like, well,
Oh
what the fuck's
man,
the point?
yeah. You have to treat like your tanks like they're made out of wet paper towels.
Yeah, you do.
Like it's a little rough. But then going to what you're talking about with the co-op, because of the way that the game is done, it's going to be really interesting to see, are they going to actually let players both exist in the same open world, or are they going to use a leash system where like one player has to stay close to the host kind of thing?
Yeah.
Because both kind of have some pretty negative aspects when you're dealing with an open world game. Like for instance, if they do a leash thing, like you couldn't attack from 2 different sides of a camp, like, and stuff like that, which would kind of really be kind of sucky. If there was no leash, then you could be just on opposite sides of the world, and how are they going to treat that with checkpoints and stuff? So lots of questions. I can see why they delayed it, because it's not nearly as easy as a co-op experience in a standard Halo.
Yeah, I can too.
There's going to be lots of big design decisions you're going to have to tackle.
Yeah, and it
which then lead to mechanical problems, of course.
Right. And I don't think that there's a way that they can do it without pissing off
absolutely
someone.
Someone's going to be pissed.
Yeah,
absolutely.
it's not
100%.
There's not an easy answer to it. It's either going to be something like, you can only spawn into missions co-op. You can't do the open world aspect of it co-op, or all the stuff you just said with like, it's going to have leash, because there's no way that like I could be at one end of the map and you could be at one end of the map, and it's somehow going to be able to, there's so many logistical problems I don't even understand from a game design
and like in other
perspective how that
Halos,
works.
either player hits a checkpoint and the other spawns at them.
Right.
It's going to be so jarring in an open world environment. Like that would be so weird. It's basically like both of you run in opposite directions, and whoever just randomly triggers a checkpoint first, like, yeah, it's gonna be strange. It's gonna be strange. I'm interested to see how they're gonna do it.
Yeah.
I have one final note to mention about Halo Infinite before we leave.
Okay.
Thank the baby Jesus up in heaven for the grunt dialogue.
Oh, it's great. Did you get the rare grunt dialogue? Did you get that skull?
What?
Yeah.
No.
There's a skull that unlocks. It makes rare dialogue for the enemies more common. And it's incredible.
Oh, that's awesome.
Dude,
it's so like good. There is so much amazing grunt dialogue. Like I swear I probably heard the same thing. It feels like twice. Like there's so much of it that you almost never think you're hearing the same thing. But like a grunt kills you, and it's like, oh my god, I got him! Finally, I got him! Like it's just there's so much good dialogue. It was like the highlight of my run in a lot of ways, was just hearing all the different ways the grunts would talk and interact, and it made it feel so alive and like they were actually real little dudes running around, and it was great. It was so good.
Yeah.
So good.
There's so much of just that, like so much polish I think throughout the game.
Actually, chat's telling me that's the one skill I got. I just didn't turn it on, but yeah, that's the one at the top of the tower. Is,
yeah,
with the
it was the Greg show stuff. Yeah.
You punched a guitar?
Yes. Yeah. Did you see the back of the? Did you read the tracks on the track list?
Tracks and stuff. Yeah,
it's great.
Also, funny other little Easter egg. Did you know that at the very start of the game, you can grapple up to? There's 2 giant anti-orbital cannons on the top.
Okay.
And like right when you come out of the first area into the open world, you look to the top right, and there are these 2 giant cannons, and each of them have 2 barrels. You can climb up the barrel of the far one, run to the very end of the barrel. There's no prompt, and you hit E, and you pick up the anti-aircraft cannon's gun.
Oh shit! Really?
There's no gun on your screen, but anytime you click, a giant artillery shell flies out and kills everything in front of you.
Nice. That's fantastic. There's a lot of Easter eggs in the game. I didn't know that.
Yeah.
I haven't seen that one. I saw
it's the Scorpion tank gun. So you basically run around with the Scorpion tank gun.
Beautiful.
Yeah, as like your normal weapon.
That's incredible. Yeah.
And it's infinite ammo as well, by the way.
Oh, can you keep it with you for the entire playthrough, or does it replace it through like cutscenes?
It replaced a weapon that I picked up. So I mean, I think there's a couple. I could be wrong about this, but I'm pretty sure there's a couple parts of the playthrough where you lose your weapons. So I'm guessing in those situations you may lose it, but I don't. Maybe you could. Maybe it stays. I have no idea.
Yeah, that makes sense. There was definitely a lot of stuff. Did you get the special pistol from like the fob points or whatever? I think it's called the Ravager pistol. I forget the name. Chat will tell me in a second. It's the most broken gun in the game. Like I'm walking up to gold elites and 3-shotting them. Like that's how strong it is. I fought a boss, and it was like one magazine or one clip or whatever, whichever one it is, because I still struggle. Was taking out like an arm of the boss, if that makes sense to you, which I think it does. It's crazy broken. It's crazy strong. So cool. If you do have access to that pistol, the Striker Sidekick, that's the name of it. If you have access to the Striker Sidekick, which I think you unlock from like getting Valor points at your forward operating base, definitely use it. It's so strong.
That would have been nice.
Yeah, like it's making the later levels in the game for me are much easier because of that. So
the name of that sounds like the companion piece. Like it's the gun you would get your kid.
The Striker.
Like the Striker.
Yeah.
And if you want to take your kid hunting, bring him the Striker Sidekick.
Yeah. God, it's
small,
so good.
Compact, fits in his little hands.
It's so good. The other thing, and Co, you played a lot of multiplayer, and so I'm curious on your thoughts on this, because when it comes to the shooting of this game, I feel like it feels funny enough, no pun intended, infinitely better than the multiplayer. Like when I'm shooting in this game and shooting at a mob and it headshots, I'm like, right, that was a headshot. Then it goes into multiplayer and I'm like all over the place. Like I'm not connecting with anything. So I don't know if that's like the AI movement that I've got dialed in because they're not fucking head bobbing.
I think that's what it is 90% of the time.
Yeah.
The thing is in this game is the enemies generally have 2 states outside of like some elites and things like that. And that state is they're either moving at a consistent speed, at a consistent direction,
True.
Or they are planted with their feet on the ground, ready for you to fire at them. So I think it's just the fact that like the game feels a lot better because we're able to like categorically get more shots on stuff that we're expecting. That helps. Where in multiplayer, like the meta is to move around as much as possible, and then you factor in this tiniest amount of lag, and it just becomes even more of a crapshoot.
Yeah,
so
that's true.
Yeah, I would say in terms of feel though, yes, it felt better in Infinite, but I think that's fine.
Yeah, the like power fantasy of Master Chief is full on in this game. Yeah. When you enter into a room and there's 5 guys and you hit 5 headshots and then like grapple on top or something and then slam down next to another. It's great.
Oh, and the grapple smash.
Oh, it's so good.
Oh,
It's so good.
yeah.
It's
Grapple
funny, yeah.
smashing a boss for the last bit of their health is just like, oh, chef's kiss.
I saw a meme where it was like, okay, here's a grapple, and then like 2 hours later, and now here's a threat sensor. It's like, but I have a grapple. And like 5 hours later, and here's a thruster. Yeah, but what about the grapple? Why would I use that? But I have
by
the
end of the game, outside of boost, I didn't use boost nearly as much as I probably should have because I didn't get the last big power up. And let's not talk about that because it's like, and even talking about this is a little spoiler if you don't know the stuff. So, but TLDR, I found myself using pretty much all the tools by the end of the game. Like I was keyboarding between 1, 2, 3, like going through each of the different ones and utilizing them where I could. It felt really good. Like, especially the threat sensors and stuff.
Yes,
like
threat
first time I get to a room,
it's
like I had the 2 of them. So I was I get to a room, boom, boom. You know, like what's here?
Yep.
Okay, let's do it.
That's exactly what
like
I'm doing.
somebody earlier later in my playthrough was like, man, it's so clear he never looks at his radar in the bottom left of the screen. I was like, I got threat sensors. Like why? Like I can just put them right there in front of me. And I never have to look. Yeah, exactly. And I love that. I love that because I'm never good at utilizing like little tiny corner elements in games because if my eyes are down there, they're not where they should be. It's basically is what my brain says.
Exactly.
So yeah, like I love that stuff. I thought it was a great addition.
Yeah. It's the last thing I'll say is it's going to be really hard, nigh impossible for me to go back and play multiplayer because I won't have the grapple constantly. Like that needs to be in the next Halo. That needs to just be a part of his kit. It's like that good. It is. In a lot of ways, like game defining. Like the reason this is so fun is because of that fucking grapple. Turns out grapples in games are just always fun, regardless of the game, I guess. But
good grapple.
Yeah, this one nailed it. Like I cannot. The momentum that you get from it, everything around it, the fact that you can use it to bring things to you. You just did it right there. Like it's just you can use it to
get
escape.
Away when you screw up.
Yeah, it's great. It's always good. It's always good. It's a fantastic addition to the game, and I hope we get to see more of that stuff. And we'll definitely talk like story focused next week because
I would love to talk about the ending in particular, but we will wait next week.
Yeah, I'm probably finishing it up later today. So I think I'm 2 or 3 hours out is what my chat was saying. So we'll finish it up and talk about it next week. Zeke, you want to pepper in another game before we jump into some Final Fantasy talk?
Sure, love to.
Yeah. What else have you been playing?
I played and finished. It's about an 8-hour game. Happy's Humble Burger Farm.
Oh,
okay.
Heard of this?
Yeah. You might have seen. I played it on Indie Sunday, and I played it for like an hour and a half, and I knew like there's a lot more to this game, and I'm gonna give it a day, and I'm glad I did. You might have also seen, I think Soda Poppin' played it for a while in front of, 20, 30,000. But Happy's Humble Burger Farm is let me just read the blurb. Congrats, you're hired. Serve customers and maintain the Happy's Humble Burger Farm restaurant alone on the overnight. But be careful, things fall apart if you mess up. After work, head home and keep your eyes open for a way to escape the barnyard buds and their fast food fever dream.
Oh God.
Now this game is one of those ooky spooky, like eerie. It has the VHS scan lines on it or whatever. And that's on purpose. You can turn those off, by the way, if you don't like them. But that's all by design. That's on purpose. Everything looks a little bit low res. Also on purpose, or look at like a retro feel to it if you want. It doesn't always look like this because I think I just had. If you take a coffee or espresso drink or whatever, if you drink it, it makes everything. You move faster and it makes everything kind of like fisheye.
Huh.
So the FOV is not normally like this, but the basic gist of the game is you wake up and you put on your headset, your basic like drive-through headset, and that's where the boss talks to you, and the boss tells you go to work. So you go to work and you serve up serve up burgers in a very much like a normal cook serve delicious kind of fashion. You just like throw the like a step-by-step thing. It's like, all right, clock in, turn the open sign on, turn on the appliances, grab the frozen burger, put it on the grill, take the bun, put the lettuce, the tomatoes, the pickle, the onion, blah, blah, blah. Once the burger's done cooking, put the burger patty on the thing, close it up, put it in a bag, give it to the customer. So that's the basic gist of how the game starts. But right away, you notice that like the opening sequence tells you there's something going on here. There's something under the surface.
Okay.
And unraveling that mystery becomes the game rather than, actually working. You can keep working from day to day if you want to, and it gets progressively harder. So your first day, nothing works except the grill. So all you're doing is making burgers. Next day, the fryer machine works. So you're making fries and burgers. So they add it step by step every day. And then you're making, pies, shakes, soft drinks. So you're basically by the end, day 6, 7, whatever. You're everything's working and you're making all of the ingredients for the customers that come in. And that's how you make money in the game. Now, money is important in the game. So even if like you want to progress the underlying story, you have to have money in order to do that. Because you got to buy stuff, so on and so forth. So even if like it kind of stops you, like, oh shit, I'm out of money. I guess I got to go to work today. So you go to work, and every shift is, I think, 5.5 minutes. They give you a timer. It's like, here's your 5.5 minutes of work shift, and I think you serve like if you like at my fastest, I think I served like 6, maybe 7 customers. So it's no big deal. It's not like it doesn't. Before
There's
it
a
gets
beeping
tedious,
in my house. I gotta go see what it is. I'll be right back.
Oh, go ahead, please. He's a drug dealer. So before it gets tedious, it's already over, and then you can go back out and explore the world and stuff. And that's what I'm basically doing right now is exploring the world and seeing what's going on. Along with the fast food appliances becoming available every day, every time you go to sleep and you wake up, there's usually a new section of town that like the gate drops or you can enter or something like that. It is weird. It's surreal. It's like this, like you walk in and you listen to this band.
What are
and
they playing?
It's terrible. It's just like it's like this terrible like MIDI like and it's on purpose.
Yeah.
It's purposefully terrible. Because it adds to the environment of the game. And there's also a minor explanation as to why it's terrible if you go far enough as well. But yeah, this is the coffee machine. You can get your
$8
Triple J's coffee.
Holy shit, that's some pricey coffee.
If you get the triple, it's gonna be pricey.
I guess it's a triple. Okay.
JP.
All right, sure. I maybe I don't buy enough coffee.
But there are moments in the game, boss fights, I guess you could say, or boss encounters.
Okay.
That you find throughout the game as the story progresses, as you explore more and stuff like that. You'll be able to do these encounters because not all of them are would be I would consider like fights. They're encounters, but they are. I'm not going to tell you who they are, what they are, anything like that. If you want to play it, but it's like playing an Adult Swim, like early Adult Swim cartoon. It's like it's not great graphically, but it's put together well. You know,
Sure.
The story is intriguing enough that I wanted to figure out what was going on, and the 8 hours that it took to play it was a perfect amount. Like it was a great amount of gameplay. Like it didn't overstay its welcome. It had a nice encapsulated story, and it wasn't too scary. It wasn't on the the jump scary side. It
Just
wasn't
eerie?
like, so when I looked at it, I was like, oh, is this gonna be like Five Nights at Freddy's, something like that? It's not. It's not. It's a feeling of eeriness,
Is it like Twin Peaksy?
unease. Yes.
Okay.
Yes. It's a little Twin Peaksy. An eerie, just a general feeling of like, I'm not sure what's going on here, but it makes sense after you start figuring it out.
Sure.
It is developed by the Scythe dev team, published by Tiny Build, and it's $20. And I had a blast with it.
You'd recommend it
I mean,
to specific set of people, maybe?
$20 for 8 hours. That's up to you. But I
Yeah.
thought it was worth it for me, for sure.
Okay. Only Steam, only PC.
That's what I got it on.
Okay.
Let me see here. There we go. It says platforms. Oh, you can get it on Xbox, Switch. You can get it on, wow, you can get it on all the platforms. Everything. It's on everything.
Nice. Ollie's
Yep.
very excited. He loves the Xbox and the Switch. Mobile gamer, really. He's super into it.
Oh, he's a mobile gamer.
Yeah. One of those. Big into gotcha. Loves the Genshin. Huge Genshin
The
impact. player.
Genshin. Oh my god, that was so great.
Yeah. I'm kind of browsing through a couple other Indie Sundays. Anything in particular? Gloomhaven, Date Night Bowling.
I can talk briefly about all of those.
Okay.
Gloomhaven, I would like to bring up first because it'll be short, because
right.
I didn't actually get to playing the game because the tutorial
This long.
was so long and wordy and complex that I was just like, nope. If I'm going to play this on stream, I'm going to have to do the reading first and then play it and then explain as I go to anyone who's confused. Because holy shit, did they fucking smell their farts with Gloomhaven. It's a board game originally. It's comes out of it's a game made based on a board game. And I don't know how the fuck anybody gets one of these games started. I compared it to Hero Quest. You
Yeah,
remember Hero Quest back in the day?
Yeah, of course.
You'd read the rules, you'd set up the board, and by the time everything was ready to go, no one wanted to play it. I tried so many times to get a game of Hero Quest going, and after an hour of setting shit up, no one wanted to play. So
being rated.
that's so I quit. I was like, nope, I'm not doing it. I'm not gonna sit here and read to you guys for an hour. I'm not saying it's good, bad, whatever. I'm just saying like that is not something I was willing to do.
Okay.
I'm not panning it. I'm not saying it's a bad game because many, many, many people in my chat today were like, "Oh, this fucking game is great." I'm sure it is, but I just wasn't. I wasn't in the mood or willing on an indie day to read for. I give 2 hours at most every game, and half of that spent reading. I'm good.
Okay, that's Gloomhaven, and that's Crystal Meth, the main character.
Yep, that's my main character.
And then what was the other one? Date
There
Night
was
Bowling.
Date Night Bowling. Simple, straightforward, fun. The bowling game was cool. Lots of the reason why I gave this a day in court was not because it had bowling or date night or whatever, but because I saw this. There's lots of little mini games in there, and I'm a sucker for mini games. I love, this is this one you're trying to clean your teeth while your date's not looking. So you look at the eye. If the eye looks at you, you have to stop cleaning your teeth, and you have to press left and right bumper. And I didn't get it. I didn't do very well.
That's how dates go. That's
my
how
teeth
that
cleanliness is bad. But I jumped straight from Gloomhaven to this. I was like, yay, something simple. And it is. It's really simple. With really simple mini game controls, and in between every or you bowl every it goes like bowling, mini game, bowl, mini game. You're like, and you're on a date with someone, and it's kind of like a toss up whether like, do they want to beat me or do they want me to beat them? For attractiveness wise or whatever. The bowling mechanic is pretty simple, but it's also this kind of a game
Hmm.
where you have to nail like where you want your spin and your power to go, and if you don't do it right, you fuck it up, you know.
Strike. He's
But
close.
I was not consistent. I
Oh.
could not. I stopping the curve and the power was not. I wasn't consistent doing that, so I didn't get like strike after strike after strike.
You s- not no pun intended. You strike me as
Yeah.
someone who's like secretly good at bowling. Are you a bowler, Zeke?
I was.
Really?
That's funny. Funny you mention that. Yeah.
Did you
for
have
a
your own
good-
like bowling ball? I knew it. How did I knew it?
Yep.
I call him like I see him. All right.
Yep.
I call
For a
him
good
like I
couple
see him.
years there, I was a bowler. I went every week at least, sometimes once or twice a week. It was a hobby, definitely something, and I would just head over there and bowl a few games, and I think I got like, it wasn't like a super great, but I think I was, by the end there, I was averaging like 180 per game, something like that.
It's good.
So
I took
I think
a bowling class in college. It was the easiest class because once a week you had to show up, you had to bowl one game. And so the entire class threw the balls as hard and fast and rapid bowled as fast as we could to get the fuck out of there.
Yep.
And it was the easiest A I got in my entire collegiate career. It was great. It was 10 out of 10. It was also the fastest I've ever bowled. We were in and out of there in like less than 10 minutes. It was great. You're muted. Oh, I muted you. Hold on. Now you say your joke. What was your joke, Co?
Okay. I was going to say speed bowling, not to be confused with speed balling, a completely different activity.
Yes. Yes.
Just as
Very,
fun.
very different. Yeah. In some circles, for sure. For sure. What's date night bowling run, Zeke? What's it cost?
it is. There we go. It is $10, $9.99.
Okay.
$9.99 Steam. Yeah, it's a pretty straightforward, simple game. Nothing too complex. Fun to look at. Fun to play. I got about an hour's worth of enjoyment out of it.
Okay.
There is one I did want to talk about for sure. It's Fights in Tight Spaces.
Fights in tight spaces. Let me find the VOD
Yep.
for it. Oh God, you stream Team Fight Tactics.
Oh,
That was 17 days ago, though. Now I'm trying to find in your VODs. Hold on. Was this?
this was on Indie Day. It should be the same day. Maybe it didn't make it to the VODs yet.
I'll try to find it. Starcade.
Okay.
Oh, here it is. Here it is. I got it.
Okay.
Yeah.
Fights in Tight Spaces. Really fun
Ooh.
game. It's a deck building game where you are an agent, basically like I don't remember if you're agent 12 or something like that, but you're you know, not a hit person because I'm playing. You can play male female, but you beat the shit out of everyone using your cards, using your deck. Everything requires a card. So if I want to move, I have to use a movement card. If some attacks will move you forward one to hit. Some attacks will hit 2 spaces away and maintain your distance, meaning like you'll do like a spin kick, but you won't move closer to the person. That kind of stuff. There's environmental stuff like you can see head smash if you turn on the closed captions. There it is, head smash right in the middle there. In order for head smash to work, the opponent has to be close to something you can smash their head on, or else it won't work. So you can't
one
head
does.
smash in the middle of the room. Like that guy is against like near the door, or near the wall. So you can smash his head against the wall or smash their head against the dumpster as long as there's something to smash. So there's conditional cards, environmental cards. There's also if you are near, see those openings?
Uh huh. The doors.
That's why it's fights in tight spaces, because if you kick them out the door, they're done. No matter how much HP they have left.
Oh.
So there are dead zones, basically, like ring outs, if you will. But it's all turn based. There's different like if you look on the left there, after we get back, there's the agent, and it says the green and the yellow. Green is obviously your health. The yellow is your combo meter, and some fights or some attacks add to your combo meter. Most attacks actually add to your combo meter. And then there's combo finishers, which take all of the combo down to 0. But the higher the combo meter is, the more powerful that attack is. So it's like a finishing move, basically. And also they discourage if you want to keep your combo up, it discourages moving around. So making best use of where you're at, because a movement card will take your combo meter down by 1 a lot of times. So you want to look for the best ways. It's really cool. Like the strategy of it was really fun to figure out. You want to figure out the best ways to take out all the opponents with as little movement as possible. But some of the moves are really cool too. Like I can't remember what it's like, switch or swap or something. And you like swap them places. You swap places with the guy and they're facing the other way. And then you can like, hammer them or whatever. One of the big mechanics in the game is getting the enemies to hurt each other. So if you
you can have them like shoot each other.
Exactly. You kick a guy into the line of fire. He the person shoots their comrade or whatever. It's great. The music though, that I gotta say, huge standout. The music is fucking phenomenal. It's by a band or an artist called Nervous Test Pilot. I bought the OST immediately after I finished my time with it, and it's just banger after banger. 17 of them, and they're great songs. But the game itself is, the music really helps get you like pumped, because in a turn-based game, staying pumped up is not something like that. Have like real-time games, shooters, RTSs, those ones, like you're sweaty, you're like, ugh. But in turn-based, a lot of times you're just like, okay, what do I do? But with the music, it helps you like, all right, I'm gonna fucking kick this guy's ass,
Yeah.
And it really enhanced it. It works. The game works like a Slay the Spire kind of progression, where you go from like node to node, and then you'll come to a fork, and it's like, you want to do an event, you want to go to the medic. Okay, choose one. All right, next thing, do you want to go to a fight? Because fights give you money, or do you want to go to a trainer? All right, like this. See, the gym, medical, repair bay, and then at the end of the line, boss fight. So
cool.
Pretty standard as far as that goes. Yep.
Yeah.
But it's really, really good, and I had a great time playing it.
Awesome. What's the price tag on this one?
This one is $24.99, and you can get the soundtrack bundled in there if you want to get the game and the soundtrack, which I suggest you do. It's $30.08.
Cool.
14% off, which is a weird number.
Awesome. Cool stuff. And I think that was all. There's a handful of games that I think weren't there on that we didn't
Fights and Tight Spaces, developed by Ground Shatter and published by Mode 7. Sorry.
Gotcha. That's a Mode 7 sends me a lot of emails. Or wait, maybe is that Team 7? Is Team 17 also a publisher?
Team 17.
Team 17. Man, they
I get a lot from them.
Man, yeah, a lot of emails from the old Team 17.
Yeah, Frozen. You might have played Frozen Synapse is also a Mode 7 published game.
Got it.
Frozen Synapse rings a bell for you.
Okay. All right. I guess let's talk about how I can't talk about Final Fantasy Endwalker. Yeah. So I guess before I even jump into the game and discussing what we can or can't talk about it, we can talk about the idea that the game's suffering from its own success right now in a big way. That game's hard to play. I in stream around 5 or 6 or 7 or 8 Eastern every night. And the second I do, I have to get in queue so that I can play by 10 o'clock because I sit through a 3-hour queue just to get into that game every single evening. The funny aspect of that is everyone is like, oh yeah, well the game comes out on Tuesday, officially releases, and it'll die down. Nope, it got worse. Just as I thought it was going to. The queues are really hurting that game at the moment. for new players. I think people that have already experienced a good chunk of it are sticking through and getting into it, or getting through the queue, I should say, and trying to play for as long as they can. But man, it is really suffering from its own success. I was trying to figure out the best way to say, like, I really shouldn't have promoted that game in the way that I did. And I really wish it didn't blow up as big as it did last year on Twitch, because it's hard as fuck to play unless you're logging in the mornings when there's like no queue. You sit an hour easy, after about 3:00 in the afternoon Eastern. And the later it gets, the harder and harder it gets to get in game.
There's one problem that drives me absolutely crazy. And here's the thing. The queues. I'm actually kind of fine with the queue.
Yeah.
I mean, this is a major release for a game that's more popular than it's ever been. Like, the devs warned us beforehand. There's a shortage on chips and stuff. They said they wish they could buy more servers, and we're physically not able to. Like the queues, we knew they were coming. Understandable, it's fine. The thing that drives me kind of nutty is the 2002.
Yeah.
That's what drives me kind of nutty. Because the problem is that I have tried, I think I'm up to 5 different attempts now. And for those that don't know what a 2002 is.
Yeah, let's talk about the error
problem is the queue it will start queuing you up and then will randomly boot you from the queue. And if you don't pretty much immediately log back in, and sometimes even if you do, then you lose your space and go to the end of the queue.
Yeah.
And the problem is this means that not only do you have to queue, which I'm fine with queues. The thing that I don't like is that you have to babysit the queue.
Yep.
You have to sit there paying attention to the queue, or in some cases hours, or it won't work. For those saying that they fixed it for the most part, they didn't as of last night.
As of last night.
So, I mean, if any fixes, it still absolutely
Still
happens. It's happened to me last night. And the problem is for me is because I don't know if the queue gods are just watching from on high and giving it to me good when they see it coming. But what I've been doing is I've been like babysitting the queue for like an hour to 2 hours in the evenings, trying to get ready for when I get on for my cozy stream.
Right.
And then I will have to go and put my kids to bed. Like, I have to leave the computer. I cannot sit in front of the computer for like sometimes a half an hour, 45 minutes. And I think 3 nights in a row, I have been 2002'd in that period that I cannot be watching the computer.
Yep.
And it's like, it's so frustrating because, again, if the queue was working, then I would come back, be in my 30-minute safety window and be able to stream Final Fantasy that night. But instead, I have to just not play. Granted, it's let me find this other really fun game that we can talk about later, and I've been enjoying that. But if I didn't have that game, I would just be completely SOL. And most importantly, this means I can't progress like this quest that I really want to keep playing, the main story quest. So that's kind of been the biggest letdown, unfortunately for me, is the 2002. Yeah. Not the queues. I expected the queues. I understood the queues. But they're having like a technical issue that they just can't seem to fix. And that is very frustrating.
Yeah. The best, it's not a fix, it's like a Band-Aid that I've I've gotten in queue and I haven't lost my queue to the 2002 error in about a week. And the way that I do that, and I've been saying this on stream anytime people talk about being 2002, is I'll log in, get in queue, start up a second launcher, put in my password and put in my one-time password, but not hit play. And so then when I do 2002, I just hit play and immediately puts me back in game and into the queue. And I haven't lost a queue that way. So if you're having issues, try to do that, but you have to babysit. Even if you're
like, I don't even need to do that. If I'm in front of my computer and get the 2002, I can immediately log back in and generally I'm fine. Like you have a solid like minute to get back in. So as long as you're at your computer, it's okay. The only issue is that if you're even slightly not paying attention, like about 4 or 5 nights ago, I was playing another game and I had the queue on Alt Tab and I was just checking it every like 5 minutes. And I just happened to check it like right after it had done in 2002 and I wasn't quick enough logging back in. But yeah, that's the only thing that's really, really unfortunate. Like that bug has been very frustrating. Queue's understandable, intentional, it's going to happen, but I really wasn't expecting like a bug.
Yeah. And like, it'll start to die down slowly, but this, not this coming Tuesday, but Tuesday after that, we get normal raids. 2 weeks after that, we get savage raids. And it's the holiday season where people are going to be home from work or home from school and they're going to be able to play. So like, it's not necessarily a problem that's going to be going away anytime soon. which I think is it's also not something that they can just go and buy more servers. They've already talked about that for months. They don't exist. There's nowhere that they can buy them. They even offered to like buy them for double or some incredibly amount of overpriced server hardware, and they couldn't. They just don't literally exist. So it's a game that's suffering from its own success right now. They just won that game award. I'm sure they got a bunch of people that are wanting to check it out because of that. Everything's going right for them except for the fact that you can't actually play the game in a lot of ways.
Also, real quick.
Yeah, go ahead.
I've heard this a lot, and I'm not going to say the name, but I'm going to call this out because I'm kind of tired of hearing this. Somebody said, the 2002 is not a bug. It's the queue servers being completely saturated. They are at and over 100% of their capacity to even process queued logins, and that's what produces 2002 errors. Okay. Here's the thing. It is a bug because there's too many people queuing into it. That's when the bug happens. The bug code is 2002. It is a bug.
It's an error
So,
code,
the idea that people are like, no, it's not a bug. Yes, it's a bug that is happening because too many people are logging in. It is a bug. Absolutely, 100%.
Yeah.
Is a bug. They can fix it. Yes, it is still very much a bug.
Yeah.
It's happening because the bug is occurring because they're getting super saturated. They can fix that. Like, there's ways to fix that. Yes, absolutely.
Yeah.
Anyway, people keep saying that, and it's 100% a bug. The 2002 is the bug error code. Like, that is why we call it a 2002 error. So, okay, anyway.
Yeah.
Done.
So, once you get in game, though, it's fine. There's no issues. Every once in a while, you will get a 2002 while in game. I think they might have fixed. I have not logged in.
Almost never seen those.
Yeah, it's very rare. I know during like the early access launch last weekend, it was happening more frequently during cutscenes, and some of the longer cutscenes as well. People have actually been kicked for inactivity because they're just watching the cutscene because of the 30-minute AFK timer, and so they just will miss that. But yeah, once you're in game, it seems fine, and you can play Final Fantasy. It's just getting in game seems to be the biggest issue at the moment.
I don't think I've crashed out once.
I haven't either.
I've heard some people have been, but I've played 20 plus hours now, and I don't think maybe 15ish hours. I don't think I've crashed out once. Yeah, technically inside, great, fantastic.
Yeah. So yeah, all that said, when it comes down to the actual game of it, I can't comment on the story. To do so would be unbelievable amounts of spoilers. So I'm not
comment on your
anything.
feelings.
Definitely one of the what's the term? I don't want to say emotionally draining, but maybe that's the best term. It's just a lot. Like and I think this is where it gets into things that I can't talk about. There definitely are points in the story that kind of drag on or get a little bit long-winded in a lot of ways, and some of the pacing is off, but those are few and they don't happen that often, and the highs severely outweigh any of those like low points and otherwise I would say like boring. And it could also be argued that because the other moments are like such a high point and they're so heavy or just important, you have to like have some moment of a break, right, for the player to just realize what the fuck has happened. Because I will say towards the end of that game, you don't get a break, and the last, I'd say 7 or 8 hours of that game, by the time you finish, there is a severe post-depression of the story where you're just kind of like, I don't want to play this game. Like, I gotta go. I'm gonna log out, so I have to get in queue for a little while. And that's I've seen that constantly repeated from people that finish the game, where they're just like, yeah, like I need to take a break and just go think. And I was definitely the same way. I was, for any Marvel fans out there, the same way that I felt after seeing Endgame was the exact same way I felt after finishing Endwalker, where you're just kind of like, wow, that was the end of like a 10-year thing. That was one, incredible. There's so many moments. I have to think about everything that just fucking happened. I need like a day or two. And so I honestly didn't play for like 24 hours after I finished it. Didn't even touch any of the features or anything at the post-story stuff. I just kind of like, walked away from the game for a little while because I was so overwhelmed. But yeah, like heavy, I think is a good term, Zeke, to say the story. Definitely like some pretty big emotional responses. And otherwise, like, it's a love letter to that fan base of the game. If you enjoyed Shadowbringers, it not only makes it is not only a better game than Shadowbringers from a story perspective, it makes Shadowbringers better by existing. Which is like maybe one of the biggest things I can say for people that enjoyed Shadowbringers.
Very cool.
That being said, I don't know what the fuck happened in terms of the actual quest design for Endwalker, but holy shit, some of them are awful. Like some of the actual gameplay mechanics of these quests are abysmal. It's like they're using like escort quest shit from like 1998 where it's like, stay behind this mob and make sure you don't lose track. And like, it's just fucking bad. Like they're annoying in a lot of ways.
Are you talking about the girl in the ice area, by the way?
I'm talking about insert 10 different versions of the girl in the ice area.
Okay.
Like there's so many different ways. There's just a lot of quests where like something changed. Someone was either new or they implemented a lot of new things into the actual game engine that allowed them to like do certain type of quest. And they're like, we're going to make every single quest like this. Cause I definitely had some like pretty big issues with the actual quest. I can probably, unless I'm misremembering, cause I did do like 13, 14 hour streams back to back for that. But I think I can count on one hand how many times it's like, go kill 10 bear asses and bring me the quest, which, a general quest in an MMO, that's what you do. And I was perfectly fine for those. There's very little of those throughout Endwalker. It's, you mentioned, I forgot what, earlier in the show you were talking about, it was for Lost Judgment, where the back half of that game is just like cutscenes, just nonstop. After like, I don't know, 87 or 86 plus MSQ story quest, there's so many cutscenes and they're all fucking incredible and fantastic, but I
was gonna say, I love that.
They're
Dude,
long.
I get an actual, like, I have a physical, like, goosebump response whenever it's like,
yep,
you're about to get a bunch of cutscenes.
Yep.
Are you ready? Like you're like, oh man, that is my favorite thing ever.
There's
and when you walk up to an NPC at the end of a long quest line and you see like 50 people with the little movie thing above their head, and it's like, oh yeah, this is gonna be good.
Yeah.
Like,
yeah. There's a lot of cutscenes, and they're all like fantastic. I think during someone said this in my chat the other day, during Shadow Walkers, I think Soken, or they said that Soken, who's the guy that makes all the music for the game, was approaching John Williams level of like music production and how he handles the aspect of that and like tailors it to the game and whatever. And now after playing Endwalker, they said that like he is a new John Williams. Like he has eclipsed him in a lot of ways for what he's done to like video games. Cause the music in Endwalker is just insane. It's just absolute. There's so many moments where it hits and you're just like, oh my fucking God. Like that's just insanities, levels of music production and the songs and the different ways that he makes so many different riffs and takes on the same song. And the songs start to mean something at that point. And yeah, it's just incredible. I think that's probably the high point of the game for me, or the high point of the expansion for me is just the music that exists in that. They need to put out a soundtrack like immediately so I can stop YouTubing different portions of the game and just hitting like repeat on that. So yeah, that's Endwalker. Co, you hit 83 today. And and I think you're starting to experience the craziness of the expansion.
Yeah, we're not going to spoiler it, but all I have to say is that I had a series of conceptions as to what we were going to do in this expansion, and today it was quickly completely turned on its head.
Yeah.
And what I thought was going to be a relatively straightforward beginning to end experience quickly devolved into I have no clue where this is going. Like, but I like it. Like I'm super am enjoying it. But I like my very vague idea of a roadmap has been completely tossed out.
Yep.
And I did an event today that I was expecting to be doing at the end and just have a nice little bow, and that was going to be the game. And it's like, nope, I have no clue where this is going.
Yeah.
Zero idea.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't. Well, I'll just. I'm not going to comment on it because even saying what I want to say would actually spoil stuff. If you've watched any of the other content that I've made around the game, so yeah, it's impossible.
I think
the sequence that occurs, you're just like, what? Okay,
yeah,
let's do it.
Yeah.
Let's go.
And I want to say I'm like a third of the way through. That's the thing. I've been told that the level is your level in this one is deceptive. It's not like every level's 10% through the expansion. So
yeah,
I don't really. I'm gonna keep trying to play it as much as I can, but the queues, like you said, they're not getting smaller. So I'm gonna do what I can to keep just getting time in where I can, and I'm hoping they can figure out the 2002. If I could actually count on the queue being accurate, then I could actually like start doing cozy streams and stuff again. That would be fantastic. But,
yeah.
Hopefully they'll get that worked out soon, and I can like really plow through this. I'm really, really concerned about getting it. I'm not super concerned, but I'm a little concerned getting it done before the New Year show. Because especially if the queues keep being an issue, like it's becoming more and more of a problem.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's my goal. That's my goal for sure.
Someone in my chat said, and that's why I giggled in the middle of your explanation.
Oh yeah,
JP. Citro from my chat said, Blizzard could probably sell some servers to Square.
Oh god,
dude, there's a
probably
lot
not
of,
using as many as they were.
There's a lot of like there's a lot of jokes made on Blizzard's behalf from me throughout the entire expansion of like I don't know, a room being on fire or something like that, and be like, oh, it's inside Blizzard HQ. Just shit like that. Just like really easy dumb goofs. Yeah. So it's a remarkable game. It's a fantastic end to that arc of the game. And if you've, it's not for everyone. I'll say that. If you know, I think if you're into it, you're into it, and if you're not, you're not, and that's perfectly fine. But for people that are into it, and you haven't finished it yet, like enjoy it. It's great. It's a fantastic ride, and take a break when you're done. The other best thing I can say is there's moments during some of the final portions of the game when it comes to the fight where you're actively in a fight. You are playing the game, you're actively fighting. And every time I've done this fight and re-queued for it, everyone in the chat just like starts fucking freaking out and be like, oh my fucking God, holy fucking shit, I can't top, blah, 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 blah. And I get that every time I do this thing. And it's that type of response from everyone playing the game. And that's probably like one of the best pitches I can give to people playing.
Hold on. Freaking out how? Like
by typing and like everything. Like people are freaking out from excitement. They're freaking out from like a shock from you know what is occurring and all that stuff. It's crazy. Okay. It's absolutely crazy.
Madness.
Yeah,
pure madness.
It's honestly pure madness constantly throughout the entire. Co mentioned when you walk up to an NPC, you see a bunch of people standing around. There's actually I've seen just from doing different things in some of the final zones. I've seen small conversations happen when people finish that cutscene because they like want to talk about what they just saw. And so these small little groups of people then just turn into this like small little community discussing the cutscene that just happened like minutes before.
Hopefully not spoiling too much for the people running up.
Yeah. Well, Well, a lot of times you'll start a cutscene and then end up somewhere else. So they're
Yeah,
in
oh,
two
yeah,
different
yeah,
places.
yeah,
Yeah,
for sure, for sure.
But just stuff like that happens. It's one of the coolest things I think about that game is the community and the fan base are like so ride or die, and they're so invested in that story that towards the end everyone's like trying to work together, and you can only really talk about that with people that have finished it, because if you say anything to anyone else, it's just a giant spoiler. Like I can't.
Yeah.
I don't want to be that guy.
Yeah, I don't want to be that guy. And I had that exact moment when I finished it. It's like, who can I talk to about this? And I fucking had no one to talk to. So I was just like, I'm gonna go be in my head for a couple hours. And then like slowly people started to finish the game on my Twitter timeline, and like I would DM them and we'd be able to talk about it, thankfully. But yeah, it's that type of game. It's heavy as shit. And it's great. It's absolutely fantastic. So
So for anybody who's
and don't play it
hearing
because I don't want you to fuck up the queue.
Never mind. Answer my question.
No, the other thing too.
Because I was gonna say, for anybody who wants to like get started on the game, you're like, fuck that. No new players yet. Wait.
I was going to say, really, at the end of the day, I think JP's just kind of fanboying. The game's really not that special. It's not worth your time. You probably don't need to play it. Like Shroud said, it feels like a glorified free-to-play game. It's really just not
100%.
Nothing special.
100%.
I would really avoid it at least for a month.
You really should. Maybe 2.
Maybe 3.
Yeah. Maybe wait till they really fix a lot of the bugs and patch the story up, and wait till the investors are happy with it, because they're probably going to get angry and sue and all that. Yeah,
absolutely. It's just it's if you've ever heard of a dumpster fire, like it is literally burning hot trash.
Exactly. Yeah. 100%. No,
this game makes New World look like Cyberpunk 2040.
The one thing I will say for people that are
good or
I don't know.
I'm trying to work through that analogy.
Yeah, I don't actually know. That's a good point. For anyone that does want to play the trial and check it out for free, I will say that, and chat's going to have to correct me, I think that if you're a trial user and not a paid subscriber, the queue actually prioritizes paying people, paying customers.
I don't even know if they can queue.
I don't even know if you can actually make new characters right now in North America, to be honest. They might have actually disabled that shit. I know that the trial or free accounts are low priority. There's no way in hell you're going to be able to make a character on a server if your friend's on it, because most of those are going to be very popular to begin with. It's like I said.
Chat's saying the trials can't even queue. Like it won't
there you go. It's suffering from its own success. And to be honest, it might be for a while. Reviews are like starting to come out for the game now,
I know,
and it's crazy.
Tons of people that haven't even started because they don't want to deal with queues. And it's like, so there's an entire like second, maybe even third wave of people that are waiting to play the game. They just don't want to deal with queues right now, so they're just waiting. Just waiting.
Yeah.
Also,
it's not going to go away.
There's the huge percentage of people that are office workers, day workers, parents that just can't play due to the queues right now anyway. So it's like there's people that are choosing not to play. There are people that are just unable to play with the queues. So I mean, it's pretty wild.
Wild. I mean, 2 of our raid members, I think, Strippin and Gmart, have just stopped trying. Like they're just not even going to bother. Which is kind of a streamer thing, but also I think just anyone that's trying to play, unless they're logging in super early in the morning, it's very impossible to. So, yeah, it's wild. I'm now in the I'm experiencing all the post game stuff. I'm getting all my crafters leveled and doing the normal MMO stuff at that. Haven't done any of the hard fights yet. I will also say, if anyone is wanting to like look at streams of the game, the raiders are doing content that is like unbelievable amounts of spoilers, like the spoilerest of spoils right now. So be very careful if you're worried about story spoilers in terms of joining streams that are farming the EX content. because those alone are massive spoilers. And will, I mean, you did one of them today, so you can understand what I'm saying.
Oh yeah. When I was when
Yeah.
I was done today, like that, just if someone had logged in and seen that,
Yeah.
looked at my level and looked at the fight, they would have immediately been like, "Oh shit!"
Yeah.
Like, yeah, 100%, 100%. And then of course the stuff right after that was, yeah. Yeah. Oh man, I'm
God.
looking forward to talking more about it. That's for sure.
Yeah. And that, like, it's
Oh.
hard because even the dungeons are like massive spoils. It's just
Somebody
crazy.
said this in chat also, and I'm going to kind of echo what you said. Don't even look at the thumbnails of the Final Fantasy 14 category.
Yep.
Like seriously, like it's to the point where there are spoilers that can occur, just by, like, pretty major spoilers actually, just by seeing thumbnails.
Yeah.
So it'd probably be a good idea. Like I'm unfortunately doing that too. If I see someone playing Final Fantasy, I just don't even drop in.
Yeah.
Especially if they say like, "Hey, don't worry, I'm done with the story." It's like, cool. That means you're probably talking about it.
Yeah.
Like, you know, like it's like, yeah. Anyway.
Yeah. It. I think prior to, and me and Jesse, I think we even talked about this prior to the expansion coming out. During all the like letter from the producers live, which is a thing that Square does, Yoshi P was actually very careful in terms of like panning his camera around in a lot of the zones, knowing where he was now in those zones. If he would have showed that shit, it was massive fucking spoilers.
Yep.
So it's
I bet.
it's crazy that like it's crazy to me that like a game can exist where something like that could be such a big deal. I can't really think of like another, because even movies, like I guess Endgame, if you think of it in terms of Endgame, if you saw some of the locations towards the end of that game, it would kind of spoil the story. So maybe same thing of that. But yeah, just simple screenshots can spoil stuff. Songs can spoil shit. It's tough. I will say though, the community is very good and they're all understanding of that. I was worried about spoilers going in. Ko can probably speak to this because he hasn't finished the story yet. But the community didn't spoil or didn't get close to spoiling anything for me when I was playing. And it seems like any conversation around it now for people that are just now starting the story or are going to be starting it soon or early on in it, the chats are very good and there's no spoils. So, seems good. A lot of spoiler talk though for a game that we didn't even spoil.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's crazy. So yeah, that's Endwalker. I'm enjoying it. I'm done with it. Story wise, I'm interested to see what comes next. So we'll see what all that is about. But I think we can call it there. We're right on time. We didn't talk about Last Stand Aftermath, but we can talk about it next week. Or you're still playing it, right?
Sure.
That's not a
Yeah,
game.
yeah.
that
I'm still playing it.
ends?
We can talk about it next week.
Okay,
Absolutely.
cool.
Mhm.
Yeah. And then Zeke, I guess what is coming up on y'all's radar? What are y'all jumping into next? Maybe we can do that in shoutouts as well if you want. Or we can just do it now.
Sure.
Okay, let's do it in shoutouts. Zeke, do some shoutouts. What are you playing next on your channel?
You bet. My name is Ezekiel30. You can find me at /Ezekiel_I. Thanks, Ko. Thanks, JP, for being my co-host. What's coming up next for me? Well, I was looking through my list, and it looks like I've got a few games that I can knock out in a couple of streams, like 1 or 2 streams, probably 2. If the How Long to Beat, which is the thing I use, and then double. So if it says 8 hours, it's going to be 16 at least for old Zeke. But I'm looking at I'm installing currently Lisa and Stasis. So those games are coming up. Yeah, I'm not sure which one I'm going to play first, but I might put a poll up on Twitter to see which one you guys would like to see the most. So that's what I got coming up, because the new game list is pretty much done for games that I want to play. I'm thinking about Ratchet and Clank, but I never played any of them, and I know everybody says it's so good and all that kind of shit. I'm still kind of hemming and hawing about Ratchet and Clank before the end of the year show. But yeah, so that's what's coming up. I got this little beauty in the mail. psychic detective.
Nice.
Just getting hyped up for CD-ROM-a-thon in January. So, yeah. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time.
Awesome. By the way, for any of longtime viewers that are worried about the FOR stuff, and that right there, that binary actually says stuff, and you guys haven't noticed it for 300 episodes, so or near 300 episodes. So if you feel bored, you can go look at the binary, figure it out. Go do some shoutouts.
Okay. Hi, everybody. My name is Ko. Nice to meet you. Welcome to our new Sunday show. So this week we're going to be doing tomorrow. I'm playing Monkey Island for some sponsored stuff. It's going to be kind of cool doing that tomorrow. Then we will be checking out EFT as we move into the rest of the week. Yeah.
They didn't ask me to do Monkey Island. God damn it.
Probably going to be doing some more Last Stand Aftermath in the evenings. It's been a lot of fun. I'm going to be getting Final Fantasy 14 in where I can. Then this Wednesday, I think we're going to start our Wasteland 3 playthrough. It's Brian Fargo's birthday, so I think we'll start our chaotic, lootful, neutral, evil Wasteland 3 playthrough on Wednesday. And also going to be raising some money for World Builders, which is Patrick Rothfuss's charity, which is pretty freaking awesome. Also, for any Patrick Rothfuss fans, he has actually agreed to read the prologue and first chapter of his unreleased third book if we meet certain goals in World Builders this year. So if you're a Patrick Rothfuss fan who's been waiting for like years and years for the third book, may want to be here Wednesday, as if certain goals are met, he will be reading those live on stream to your ears. So, they already reached that goal. People are saying in chat. Well, fantastic. So we'll have more information on that.
He's got to write them now.
Yeah. No. Regardless, we're going to be doing a World Builders charity stream on Wednesday. Hope to see you there. It's for a fantastic cause. We'll definitely talk more about it then. And as always, thank you guys for being here. And I will see you then or next Sunday if I don't see you before then.
Yeah. The shows are on Sunday now. It's weird. We got to change all the graphics. Stay with us while I'm changing all the stuff on. Really, I got to find out where we've listed that the show airs at Wednesdays. I think Twitter's the one that I found. If you have any others, feel free to tweet at me or the Drop Frames Twitter account. We'll try to get all that stuff changed as we're moving to Sundays officially now. We'll be back next Sunday. Between now and then, what am I jumping into? Probably, I guess I'm going to do some more Endwalker. There's not many games out between now and January. So maybe some more League ranked. We'll do some of that stuff. I'm going to finish Halo up after this. Tomorrow we got MCU Crew. We'll be talking about Hawkeye, episode 5. And then we'll kind of just go from there. So that is that. And that is the show. Thank you guys for being here. Maybe we'll get some more. Maybe we'll go back to Guest. Do you guys remember Guest? Remember when we had Guest on this show? Remember that, Zeke?
Oh, go back to having guests. Okay.
Yeah. That's
like more people?
Yeah, I don't know. People
I feel like it'd get loud.
It might get a little crazy.
So let me float this idea by you. I had it earlier in the show today. Since we are officially switching to Sundays, what if this Wednesday,
Sunday,
if you guys were down, instead of we won't do our regular show, but we might be on if you guys want to do GTFO.
Oh,
I would love to, but I'm doing Wasteland 3 for World Builders, and then I'm pretty sure I'm doing Warframe stuff in the afternoon. I think
right.
I think Wednesday's New War, so I think there's going to be a lot of New War stuff.
I think I might be doing that sponsored as well, maybe.
So that, but hey, if not, then I'm happy to do it Thursday if you guys want to.
I don't have plans, so I'm down for whatever. Yeah.
Okay.
You guys want to shoot for Thursday afternoon?
We'll talk. Yep.
Yeah.
Okay. Cool. Yeah. I mean, that game is horrifying and
to
fun.
play GTF. What the fuck?
Yes.
God
yes.
damn.
You're already in. You've already agreed, and now you have to. We'll need to find one more person. We should be good to go.
Okay.
Yep. All right. Happening. And for the record, you cannot get out of this. You've already agreed. There's basically a no take backseat situation.
Look, I've played Resident Evil 7 VR. This is small time shit. Okay, this is nothing.
This small potatoes.
Yes, as people are saying in chat, it is legally binding. I believe that is the accurate.
It's true.
Term.
It might be true. It could be true. I'll get my lawyers on the phone and see if it's true. All right, we'll let you guys know. We'll put out some tweets and all that stuff and let you know when we're going to be playing some GTFO and maybe some other stuff. Maybe just turn Wednesdays, if it works for everyone's schedules, into like a DFG thing. If there's a game out where we want to play, who knows? The future's weird. We're gonna get crazy around here. Everyone shake your hands like this.
Gonna get weird, guys.
All right, we're out. We'll see you guys next Sunday. Have a good one. Bye-bye.